Okay folks, here is a quick tutorial on how to clean the caster wheels on a standard office chair. So this is, believe it or not, the amount of gunk and hair that I got out of just two of the caster wheels. You can see it builds up in these little ringlets which mix with oil and dust to sort of cake on the inside of the axle. So it's pretty hard to cut them out with a razor blade without dismantling the wheels. Virtually impossible. You'll waste a lot of time. And if you've got some just standard equipment that I'm going to show you, it's pretty easy to get dismantle the wheels. So looking at the wheels themselves, this is a wheel that's been fully taken apart. I might just swap it with this one because it's a little cleaner. You can see that that's inside of the wheel. Here's the axle, and it's got a knurled section on the center which fits directly into here, and then this little indent fits into a boss which is on the inside of this wheel itself. So those two go together into here. So what you're doing is you have to pop the one side off, and then you can slide it out. Now once you pop it off, you'll have something like this, a little push further, a little through, so you kind of either have to push it out on one side or pull it out with your hand. That's what this knurled section does. It just keeps the axle centered, so it doesn't sort of float between the two. Some axles may not have that. Anyway, this section here is the hub axle, and you can see that you can actually just grab it with a little bit of force and pull it out, and that's what it looks like. It's got a little ring clip, but it's easier to leave it in. Okay, so how do you get them apart? The best method is to have two screwdrivers. I've got a Phillips and a flathead, but probably two flatheads are better. Nice and robust so they're not going to bend. Slide it through underneath. You will create a little bit of a wedge there. You can see I can slide it through pretty easily. So slide one on the underside of the axle, and then you can see this is a Hayworth Zodi chair. You can see that I can put it in between the axle. It's hollow in here. If it isn't, you can sort of stick it on the outside, either side. I prefer to stick it in the middle so it doesn't damage the paint. Okay, and then put your other screwdriver on the other side of the axle and push that all the way through, and then just use a lot of force. It's not going to be easy. Use a lot of force, and you can twist as much as you can and it will come off. Alright, so that's it there. That's popped off. Now you can see what this looks like. It's got a lot of gunk. This is probably, I'm guessing, I think I got this chair in about 2011 or 2012, so that's a nice little ringlet of hair there. I'll pull this out. You can see what this looks like here. That'll just sort of lift off. Now if it doesn't, I mean, that's a lot of gunk. That's slowing that down a lot. If it doesn't lift off, grab a razor blade. Leaving the screwdriver there gives you something else to hold. Grab a razor blade. Don't be careful and just slide down. Oh, there you go. Slide down and just cut gently. You shouldn't have to cut much. I'm using my thumb here to just guide it, so I'm not actually cutting a huge amount. And you're not cutting onto the metal like that. You're cutting down towards the plastic, and that should get it out. Now, like I said, you can just push this through from the other side, like that. So I push down using the screwdriver, and then that pops that out. And then you can do the same thing for the other side. Again, if it's too tough, grab your razor blade and you can sort of just push down. You can feel it. It shouldn't take too much effort to cut through the hair and get that all out. It's very therapeutic. Might have to angle the blade in a little bit. Sorry, I was out of screen there. Angle the blade in a little bit. There we go. Most of that's off. That's nice and disgusting. Now, it's up for debate as to whether or not you should put oil in these little axles. I would suggest probably not. Oh, look at that. Now if you want to get this out, for example, this one's spinning quite freely now that I've taken the gunk out. One of the ones I had, I think it's this one here, this one doesn't spin. So something's wrong. It could be when you lever it off, it could be that you've sort of half pulled it out. It doesn't seem like that with this one. You can see that I can pull it in and out. So it seems like something else is in there. One option is to put some WD-40 or CRC or some kind of solvent in there and see if it like loosens up. The other option is just leave it, because that, I mean, it's not like you going kilometers and kilometers on this thing. With your weight, it will it'll move fairly smoothly, but you know, ideally it looks like that. Again, the other one that I had, just for reference, does the same thing. Taking 3 wheels off, and that's pretty good. Putting it back together, just center it using like a little bit of force to center it, and then grab your wheel and just pop it back on. You can hear it click. Again, these are not expensive. You can even get the rollerblade types for around $25 to $30. Obviously, it's much better to save that money and, you know, fix it instead of throwing stuff out. But if you damage them, don't be too concerned. They're fairly generic, and you can probably pick up a set of these simple non-bearing type ones for, you know, $10 to $15 or something like that, maybe 20 if you're unlucky. But yeah, save the planet and just clean that up, and away you go. The clamps I'm using a wooden bench so I don't scratch the top, obviously, and the clamps I'm using here, you can use any sort of wood clamps, but this was just like an Irwin quick grip style clamp. So there you go. Hope that helps, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So get that hair out of there and get the wheels rolling smoothly. Cheers.